Hello and welcome to the Tavern Chat Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, your main proprietor of the Tenkar's Tavern blog, Discord server, Mimi group, Facebook group, Twittering, and that Instagram shite. So, what are we going to discuss today? Well, I've been negligent, alright? I was thinking about it, and I was like, wow, I haven't looked at an Orr Report, the Orr Group report, that's the Roll20 statistics, yet this year, and I had to look it up, and they did report on May 5th, which, when you think about it, means we should have one out. That was for the first quarter. We should have the second quarter report out. We don't have it yet. But I missed it. I was sick. It's not an excuse. Well, it is. But still, I should have caught it. I should have caught it sooner. But I want to go over it because it's interesting. Again, this goes back to May 5th. We were about... two and a half months fully into the lockdown quarantine, depending on where you live. So, they said 2020 has seen widespread growth for nearly every game system on Roll20. Alright. Half the games on Roll20, 50.4%, were 5e. Nearly 16% were uncharacterized. Or categorized. I guess that people who didn't bother, when you made your campaign, didn't bother putting a system label on it. Coming in at third, any edition, Call of Cthulhu. That's huge. Alright, if you're Chaosian, that's huge that your game is getting in there at number 3. Pathfinder, 4.49%. So that's a little bit more than a third of the numbers of Pathfinder. Of Call of Cthulhu. Second edition Pathfinder, 1.2%. Warhammer, 1.3%. So, that's the campaign percentage. And then the account percentage skews those numbers even further. D&D gets almost 56% uncharacterized. About 14%. Call of Cthulhu, 8.3%. Pathfinder, about 5%. Pathfinder 2nd Edition, 1.3%. Warhammer, just over 1.3%. But what I find interesting is the games with the biggest growth. Old School Essentials, up 962%. Blades in the Dark, up 475%. Rollmaster, 454%. Interesting, right? And even they pointed out, Old School Essentials only launched last year, and it's a system designed to emulate the feel and the mechanics of classic RPGs from the late 80s. We looked at other role-playing games that have either been around for decades, Rollmaster, or built in the style of them, Zweihander and Labyrinth Lord, and found that they have consistently outpaced the overall rate of growth on Roll20. Interesting, right? I would say so. Now, I think this leads us to a need to understand something. Is that Roll20 is talking in a previous report, I believe, that they had over 5 million registered accounts on Roll20. It's probably gone up even since then. They started seeing an upswing when parts of Europe were locking down, like Italy. But once the States started locking down, really, when you think about it, it's a huge market. And they are getting a percentage of that market. It's a significant percentage. Gaming has moved online. And I think Roll20, I know Fantasy Rounds is big. I don't think Fantasy Rounds has anywhere near the player base that Roll20 is. Roll20 is something that you just load up in your web browser and you run with. Ingenious design, and I'm sure it's a moneymaker, and I'm sure it's recession-proof. I'm not sure if gaming overall is recession-proof. If the economy goes bad, how well gaming overall can do, especially for the larger companies who have to survive in this profit margin. smaller companies where a lot of times the employees, this is their second job or their side gig, they can afford to not be making the profit numbers that they were. Larger companies, you're not making that money. You're laying people off, or you're closing up shop. I don't know where our economy is going to go. It's coming back. I do suspect that, especially when it comes to stocks, that the prices are overvalued. I've gotten back whatever I've lost when the market crashed at the beginning of the pandemic and then some, and we're not fully back. And as a side note, I mean, New York City, it's been announced that they're going to start allowing indoor dining again at the end of the month. We're in September, it's in September. But limited to 25%, you have to have ventilation or high efficiency, high filtration, air conditioning units or whatever. I don't know. I think I've seen a number of businesses in my area close. I don't know how well it's going to come back. I think New York City is going to suffer long term from the pandemic. And you got to remember that decisions on closing businesses is done on a state or local level. It's not done on a federal level. You know, the feds can make recommendations, but the states are the ones that make the decisions on this stuff. So I think certain economies statewide are going to take longer to come back. And how's that going to affect gaming? I mean, a couple of years ago, I was gaming in person at a game store out in Long Island. I don't know if that game store is going to survive, because obviously they can't have indoor gaming. And that in-store gaming brings you in customers. If you're not having customers, you're not making money, right? So people were complaining about gyms being closed, but it's not just gyms. It's yoga studios. It's movie theaters. It's these entertainment values. Rach and I have tickets for, what's that group, Rach?
Postmodern Jukebox.
Thank you. Postmodern Jukebox. I believe it's October we have tickets for.
Yes.
I don't believe the venue is going to be open. And even if they are open, they can't have the seating that they initially build. You're not going to be sitting next to people, right? So I believe that the tour is canceled. I got to do a little bit more research on that. And if so, I'd expect a refund. But it's not their fault, right? It's not their fault. It's the situation we're in. We got to adjust to it. So, and tomorrow's going to be a bit of Game with Health, but I'll give you a preview. I saw my cardiologist, and I was told that apparently, I guess when I had the pneumonia and the sepsis, that my heart muscle went into a state of shock. All right, and it was not working properly. And the 4 stents and the medications that I'm on now have shocked the heart out of shock, or something of that sort. And now my heart's working like a healthy heart. So I'm going in for more. All right, well, apparently I get knocked off if somebody tries calling, because my iPad and my iPhone are all connected. But in any case, my heart's working well. My doc said that he thought when he first saw me I was going to get a defibrillator or a pacemaker. He would have put money on it, and now he says you're not getting it. So I go back next week for further testing that's more accurate than an ECG, some kind of magnetometer shit. I couldn't tell you. But just to verify that my heart is looking as good as it is. So those of you who've been offering prayers, I appreciate it. I'll keep them coming. They're doing well. Thank you. All right, folks. God willing, I'll talk with you mañana.